Just after midnight on December 3rd, 1984, people in Bhopal, India, began waking up unable to breathe. Some woke with their eyes burning, some woke coughing, some heard people shouting outside and opened their doors into a cloud they could not understand. It was not smoke from a fire. It was not ordinary pollution. A toxic gas cloud had escaped from the Union Carbide pesticide plant and was moving through the city. The plant produced chemicals used in pesticides. One of the most dangerous chemicals stored there was methyl isocyanate, often shortened to MIC. MIC is highly toxic. It reacts with water, and if it is stored incorrectly, or if safety systems are not working properly, it can become extremely dangerous very quickly. That night, inside the plant, one storage tank became the center of the disaster. The tank was known as Tank 610. It contained a large quantity of methyl isocyanate. At some point before the release, water entered the tank. Exactly how that water got in has been argued over for decades. But what happened next is clear. The water reacted with the MIC. The reaction generated heat, pressure began to rise, and the conditions inside the tank started moving toward a runaway chemical reaction. In a safe system, there should have been several layers of protection. The chemicals should have been stored cold. A refrigeration system should have helped keep the MIC stable. A vent gas scrubber should have helped neutralize escaping gas. A flare tower should have been able to burn off dangerous vapor. Warning systems should have alerted people quickly, and emergency planning should have helped protect the communities around the plant. But on the night of the disaster, those layers did not protect Bhopal. Some systems were not working, some were out of service, some were not strong enough for the size of the release. And the people living near the factory were not prepared for what was about to move through their streets. As pressure built in Tank 610, gas began escaping from the plant. The release was not a small leak that stayed inside the factory. It moved beyond the plant boundary. The gas cloud drifted into nearby neighborhoods, where thousands of people were asleep. Because MIC and the other gases in the cloud were heavier than air, the danger stayed close to the ground. It moved through streets, homes, and crowded areas. People woke up in pain, their eyes burned, their throats closed, their lungs felt as if they were on fire. Many had no clear warning and no instruction about what to do. Some ran away from the factory, others ran in the wrong direction, deeper into the gas. Parents carried children. Families were separated in the dark. People tried to reach hospitals without knowing what they had breathed in. The city's emergency response was overwhelmed almost immediately. Hospitals filled with people suffering from eye injuries, breathing problems, vomiting, panic, and collapse. Doctors and nurses were trying to treat thousands of patients without clear information about the exact chemical exposure or the best medical response. In disasters like this, information matters. Knowing what chemical has been released can change treatment. It can change how rescuers protect themselves. It can change what residents are told to do. But in Bhopal, confusion spread alongside the gas. By morning, the scale of the disaster was visible. Thousands were dead or dying. Many more were injured. The exact death toll has been disputed for decades. Official figures are lower than the estimates used by many campaigners and survivor groups. But even the lowest numbers show a catastrophe. Hundreds of thousands of people were exposed or affected. And the damage did not end when the visible cloud disappeared. For many survivors, Bhopal became a lifelong disaster. People reported breathing problems, eye damage, neurological symptoms, reproductive health problems, and other long-term conditions. Children were born into families already affected by the leak. Communities continued to live near the old industrial site, and questions about contamination, cleanup, and responsibility continued long after the world's attention moved on. This is why Bhopal cannot be understood as one leaking tank. The tank mattered, the water mattered, the chemical reaction mattered. But the larger failure was the system around it. A dangerous chemical was stored close to dense communities. Maintenance and safety standards had weakened. Multiple protective systems did not work as they should have. Warnings did not reach people in time. Emergency planning was not strong enough. And when the gas escaped the factory fence, the people outside the plant became the final layer of defense. They had never agreed to that role. They were not trained for it. They were not equipped for it, and they were not warned quickly enough to protect themselves. In the years after the disaster, the legal and political fight continued. Union Carbide reached a settlement with the Indian government. Survivors and campaigners argued for greater compensation, accountability, and cleanup. The company's responsibility, the role of local management, the design of the plant, and the decisions made before and after the leak all became part of a long and bitter debate. Decades later, the former plant site remained a symbol of unfinished business. Toxic waste and contaminated land kept Bhopal in the news. Even 40 years later, the cleanup was still being argued over. For survivors, that meant the disaster was never only in the past. It remained in their health, in their families, in their neighborhoods, and in the question of whether a disaster this large had ever truly been answered. Bhopal is one of the clearest warnings in industrial history. Dangerous chemicals do not become safe because they are familiar. A factory does not become safe because it has operated for years, and a city is not protected just because the danger is behind a wall. Safety is not one alarm, it is not one valve, it is not one tank. It is a chain of decisions made every day. Storage, maintenance, training, warning systems, emergency planning, public information, regulation, accountability. If those links weaken quietly, the failure may not look dramatic at first. A system can appear normal from outside, lights on, machines running, tanks standing still, people sleeping nearby. But inside that system, risk can build, and when it finally breaks, the result can move faster than anyone can respond. On the night of December 3, 1984, a chemical stored inside a factory became a cloud over a city. The disaster crossed the fence. It entered homes, it filled streets, it overwhelmed hospitals, and it changed Bhopal forever. That is why this story still matters. Because the lesson is not only about one plant in 1984. It is about every place where dangerous materials are stored near ordinary people, every place where maintenance is delayed, every place where warnings are ignored, every place where safety systems exist on paper but fail when they are needed most. Bhopal shows what happens when industrial risk becomes human, and once that line is crossed, the damage can last for generations.